flying basically commercial aircraft, Air Indian aircraft by the Air India, which were reconfigured for VVIP duty, but without any protection. So the 777 that we're getting now, these are basically Air India aircraft, which have been retrofitted now with special systems, which will make them, less vulnerable to ground-based threats. So these are being fitted with the Boeing specialized equipment, which is going to a lot of the heads of state aircraft. So basically, the biggest threat that an aircraft faces when it takes off from an airfield is that during takeoff and just before landing, the threat of man pads or man portable surface-to-air missile systems, which are basically shoulder-fired missiles. So this aircraft, I think, is going to get equipment which will disable such missiles, and it is extremely important because security at this level cannot be compromised, and the kind of thick population that we have around airports across the country, it's a very credible threat that has to be countered. The aircraft are going to come hopefully in a few weeks. We were hearing end of August, perhaps early September. They've been slightly delayed because of the COVID crisis. We signed the deal with America on this. It was a government-to-government deal signed last year, 2019. It was approved. The aircraft cost is separate because it's already Air India aircraft, but the systems which are going on board, the specialized systems which are not given to many countries, they are worth about $190 million. Integration is happening in the US. These aircraft will be flown by the VVIP squadron of the Air Force, so it will be Air Force pilots. And I think this will give that much needed cushion and cover to our VVIPs when they travel. See, besides just the protection of the aircraft, this also has advanced communication systems. So the VVIP traveling will be able to communicate directly, real time. There will be meeting rooms inside. It will be comfortable travel. It will be able to carry security personnel on board. So it has a lot of enhancements, and these will be the first long-range specialized aircraft that we have as of now. Because till now, we were only getting Air India aircraft coming in, getting reconfigured for short spells of people.
Okay. Let me now bring in AVM Manmohan Bahadur here to try and understand a little bit more about the VVIP aircraft. So AVM Bahadur, if you could just put everything in perspective. Obviously, one important aspect is security. The other one is communication. But what else are we looking at?
VVIP travel is specialized travel, and that is done by the Air Headquarters Communications Squadron at Palam. What happens is that people who are in that communications squadron are specially selected. They are security verified. Each and every person, whether it be the pilot or the technician or the DSC guard, which guards the aircraft while at Palam and other places. So all of them, their antecedents are checked very rigorously by the IB and other police agencies. It is only then that they are posted to ComSquad. So that's where the human element comes in before somebody starts flying a VVIP. Secondly, we get on to the aircraft as such. The aircraft is something where you and I cannot go unless we have clearance. There is actually a log maintained of who all enter those aircraft and at what time they enter and what time they leave, because this is for the security of the top leadership of the country. That besides, as Manu has already brought out the other things about the facilities that the aircraft will have. Secure communications is a very important thing when the Prime Minister, the President, the Vice President want to interact. If they want to have, say, I do not know whether this aircraft will have video conferencing or not. I'm not aware of that. Video conferencing, say, or fax or telephones. These are standard things which are there in any modern VVIP aircraft. So considering all this, the Boeing 777, remember it's been in service with the Air India for a very long time. So two aircraft were diverted and have been redone or refurbished as per requirement of the communications squadron. And I can assure you, the SPG would have been deeply involved in. There would be electronics expert who would be involved, and of course the Air Force, whose people would have got trained by now, or they may be under training. There would be an overlap, because remember, Boeing 777 does New Delhi to Chicago or New Delhi to Washington in Air India service, and it's got the capability, of doing those 13, 14 hours flight. So, which the Air Force pilots in the present BBJ, the Boeing business jet, don't do that time. So there would be an overlap with Air India pilots, one of them, and the Air Force pilot. So this overlap will continue for some time, and it is understood that Air India has, actually asked for volunteers or people to debut themselves for a special task with the Air Force for a period of 2 years. Some people have been identified, and this would be on. A very important aspect is the maintenance of this aircraft. The maintenance, as per media reports, would stay with the Air India, as was the case with the Boeing, the previous BBJs and the 737, which was there. Because Air India is a specialist agency, and you cannot set up servicing facilities just for 2 aircraft, which would be on Air Force inventory. It's just not possible. So the Air India engineering services would be tasked to carry this out. For people who sort of move with the Prime Minister, the staff, the stewards, etc., I am not aware whether that would be Air India staff or whether it would be Air Force people. But in the BBJ and the Embraer, it is the Air Force that looks after. 777 is a much bigger aircraft, so I'm not aware. But if it comes to the Air Force side, I'm sure they can handle it.
Okay, so this is about personnel and obviously maintenance as well. But A.B. Bahadur, one more aspect is the security aspect in terms of the features which this new aircraft might have in terms of countermeasures, as Manu was pointing out, to sort of tackle the threats which it might have when the aircraft is airborne or taking off or touching down as well.
Yes, all these aircraft now actually, when they go into zones which are threatening, have self-protection measures. There is a special self-protection suite, SPS, which is mounted. That is highly classified, highly classified. And I'm sure DRDO would be involved in this. As also in what I had mentioned earlier, the communication part. Okay, because I'm sure we would be putting our own encryptors and decryptors to ensure that our communication of our head of state is secure. So when you're talking of the countermeasures, well, the standard thing, and I do not know, and I'm not speaking about this aircraft, but there are infrared countermeasures, there are the flares, there are the shafts. So I do not know what this aircraft would be getting, but these are mentioned in the present media dialogue, which is media coverage that is going on. Large aircraft in infrared measures also are mentioned. What exactly, I'm not aware, because that I'm sure would be a highly classified stuff.
Definitely, since it is about the security of the VVIPs and the top ones at that, the Prime Minister, the President of India, the Vice President of India. So obviously this will all be a classified information there. Let me bring in General Sivaj here. General Sivaj, 2 aspects to begin with. One is why the need for a change, although as Manu has pointed out, and A.V.M. Bahadur is also saying that with changing times, the needs and requirements obviously also change. That is one. Second is obviously the security aspect, as A.V.M. Bahadur is pointing out, from personnel to the countermeasures it should have on board.
Vishal, yeah, 2 aspects, very important aspect. First of all, why do we need them? You remember, as on today, for last 30 years, we were using this Boeing 747 commercial flights for the VVIP, basically Prime Minister, President and Vice President, whenever they were going out. And whenever they're moving inside the country, it was basically Indian Air Force Communication Squadron, which is a VVIP flight. This was being used, but this was a very ad hoc arrangement which was being done. It was especially whenever the President, Prime Minister were going out the Boeing, which was of Air India, the commercial one, did not have any security aspect involved in that. And you see, India is an emerging superpower now. We need to have a specialized aircraft for our VVIP because the security threat is increasing. And the second thing is, you remember this Air India is no more going to be a national carrier because it is going to be privatized. So therefore, there is a need that we must have our own aircraft, which is exclusively for Prime Minister, President and Vice President, and especially so. What has happened is these Boeing 777-300 extended range, we have already got it, and from Air India, this has been taken by Indian Air Force or by the government, and they were then sent for carrying out this modification. Now, the 2-3 modifications which has been carried out are very important. One is it has got two issues. One is large aircraft in infrared countermeasure and a special protection suit. Now, these are very important. What is this? What happened is when these have been incorporated in these aircraft, that in case there is a missile threat or there is any early warning or electronic warfare threat, sumoto it is been taken care of, and the pilot will only come to know once the threat has been already deviated. So this is the crunch point in this, is the one which is a large aircraft infrared countermeasure. This takes care of this, that it has a jamming facility, it can intercept, and any missile which has been fired on this aircraft, sumoto it will be taken care without the intervention of the pilot. That is the beauty about it. And second thing is the special protection suit give the capability of staying in a particular safe place which has got a protection from electronic warfare also. Now this modification has been carried out by Boeing only, and we have spent $190 million for this, because this was very much required. Now, this is not there with many countries. One is that Air Force One of the President of US is using it, and second one, possibly they have given to us or to some other NATO country. Now, why this thing has come is that we are now a strategic trade authorization 1, which we have signed with the US in 2018. After that, we have become a strategic partner, and they can transfer the technology to us. You know, the strategic trade authorization 1 is only in South Asia, India, and in total Asia, we are the third country after Japan and South Korea. Now, this is what has been a change, that the America accepted our demand of giving this state-of-art defense system which is available. And also that in 2017, we have signed COMCASA, that communication compatibility and security arrangement. So why doing this? The Americans were ready to give us these two state-of-art systems, which are very important for the safety and security. So remember, 2-3 things which stands out as far as this aircraft is concerned. This aircraft can go around the whole world in one go. It has also got a fuel refueling facility in emergency, and as the Air Force One of America, it has by and large all those security arrangements which are prevalent in that. So therefore, it is a game changer. It is a force multiplier, and by coming this, the two things will be taken care of. One is the journey of the VVIP dignitary will be more safe, more secure, and it can be, say, more luxurious.
Okay, definitely. The safety, security is really important when we speak about VVIPs. But that brings me to one more question here, Manu, and I'd like to start with you. In terms of, if you do a bit of a comparative analysis here, obviously there would be other nations as well. For example, all of us know United States of America is one wherein their president travels in an almost a similar aircraft or much more equipped aircraft, which is known as Air Force One. Apart from that, what all other heads of the states have these state-of-the-art aircrafts, or perhaps if we do a bit of a comparative analysis, where do we stand? Would we stand rather once we have this?
See, I think this aircraft is very much state-of-the-art. You talked about Air Force One. Now, Air Force One, perhaps will be more advanced in terms of features it has already had, but it is the 777-ER will be at par with it. Why? Because it's a new aircraft. The Air Force One still relies on the Boeing 747 platform, the old one. And there's a lot of debate in the US on updating the aircraft to meet modern requirements. So we are getting, I think, perhaps one of the best aircraft available in the world at par with any head of state. The problem that we have, is that we always look at small numbers. We're only getting 2 of these aircraft. Now, when the US president comes to town, and we saw him when he came to Gujarat, he has a whole range of aircraft which travel with him. There's a dedicated aircraft for security personnel. There's an aircraft which brings equipment. There's a backup to Air Force One. There's the Air Force One itself. So we are, it's a whole system of systems, and they travel it's like almost like a convoy kind of a scenario in the air. So we don't have that. We only getting these 2 aircraft, and the reason we are having 2 is because one will always be able to fly, the other will be a backup. So perhaps numbers are not very satisfactory. Maybe some more would have been in order. But it's a very expensive system. So I think the total cost, 190 million, is only the modification cost of the system. But the cost of the aircraft is not being factored in. So it's going to be much more expensive. In terms of other heads of state, everyone has their own preference of aircraft. We have in the past, operated Russian aircraft. We've operated now American. I think other countries are doing the same. But I think very few countries in the world can afford an aircraft of this size. So in our immediate neighborhood, definitely not. I don't think the Prime Minister of Pakistan has an aircraft of even comparable status. In fact, as we remember, there were reports in which one of the Gulf states had to send an aircraft to him, to travel because their aircraft was not available. So this is an aircraft which only rich nations can afford. And I think we have entered that category. We are one of the top economies in the world. And so I think my only point is number, perhaps too less. We should have to put more.
Okay. Let's hear from ABM Bahadur on these 2 aspects. ABM Bahadur, a bit of a comparative analysis here. Do you believe 777-ER is the best choice? And numbers, as Manu is pointing out, though it's really costly, but 2 should be sufficient to start with.
That is correct. And a few corrections. The 777-ER, which is coming to us, it will not have air-to-air refueling, as the President of the United States, the Boeing 747 that has. Okay, just remember, this is a commercial aircraft refurbished from inside with some extra avionics. To try and put air-to-air refueling is a big plumbing job. Okay, so it's not that simple. It cannot be done in a year and a half to an old design. Because 777, remember, is an older design. So that's one. Number 2. When we talk of other heads of state, it depends on what the country can afford. We have 2 for the time being. One would be main, one would be standby. And that's how it operates, because even when the Air India's Boeing 747 is taken, there is one main and one standby at base here in India, in case the number 1 goes unserviceable for whatever reason. So that's the second thing. Thirdly, yes, as Manu pointed out, we used earlier the Russian one, Tu-144, 124, sorry, and then we switched to Boeing 737 and BBJs. So the point is that there will be, even once this aircraft comes, let me tell you, straight away it will not start flying the VVIPs. There will still be an overlap time, because the SOPs of the Comms Cordon are such that the pilots go through very rigorous on-the-job training, and you may be having this aircraft flying all over the place, in fact, around many times to foreign countries, just to make sure that the SOPs are worked up. And this happens for whenever a new aircraft comes into the communications squad, whether it be a fixed wing or a helicopter. So this is what the background to the 777-ER is.
Okay.
Should we get a third one? I don't think so. Not for any other reason. It's too costly. But because remember, how many times is it that the Prime Minister goes out of the country, or the President or the Vice President? Rest of the time, this aircraft will be lying on ground, just doing continuation training and things like that. So that was one of the reasons why Air India wanted to move out, because its commercial operations used to be affected. Now, till the time Air India stays Air India, or whichever way, whether it is disinvested or not, its commercial flights will not be affected, and that's a very major takeaway from commercial operations taken over by the VVIP flying taken over by the Air Force.
Okay.
So that's where it is.
Okay, let's take concluding comments from General Sivach before we conclude the show on these two aspects, General Sivach. One, the comparative analysis, and second, as Manu is saying that perhaps more than two would have been okay, but AVM Bahadur believes two is a sufficient number. So, according to you, if you look at as a defense expert and ensuring the safety and security of the VVIPs also is really important there. So the numbers, will that be okay with two, or can we go for more perhaps later if required?
To start with, Vishal, 2 is good enough, because even the Air Force One, the 2 identical aircraft which is available to the President of USA are 2 only. As far as this is concerned, initially we can go for 2 because it's a very costly affair. And costly, not only that, it is a costly as an aircraft, that is Boeing 777-300 extended range, but the modification which you have carried out is very costly. Both these features which you have put it, that's self-protection suit which you have put it, and also basically a large aircraft infrared countermeasure. These two cost about $190 million. So it is approximately costing $100 million per aircraft. So to start with, I think 2 are good enough. And if the nation feels it, the requirement can go. My point is, what we have to appreciate is that whatever, the system which has been put in this aircraft is state of art. We have got it from America because we are a strategic partner. Why are we not understanding this issue? The point is, today they have given us these 2 issues. So we are, one, it is costly, and second thing is, now since we are signed or we are a strategic partner to them, we are strategic trade authorization 1, also COMCASA, and also otherwise trade partners. So they are now ready to give us the technology, and it's a good thing that we have got these aircraft. This will be a safe and secure move for a VVIP of the nation, and it is required. India is emerging as obviously a regional power, so therefore there is a requirement of having an exclusive aircraft for Prime Minister and President whenever they are moving out of the country, rather than getting as a charter from Air India, which will be no more a national carrier, likely to be privatized. So this is a better option. And as far as the training is concerned, I think it's an ongoing process. Till the time the Air Force pilots are not trained, I'm sure Air India pilot can, can be with them, and slowly and steadily it can be done. So my point is, as on today, it's a very good thing happened for India that we have got a state-of-art, very safe, very secured, aircraft for VIP movement outside the country for Prime Minister, President, and Vice President.
AVM Bahadur, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, it is like this, that the present ComScot aircraft have also got a protection suite. So let's not expand on the American-US defense relationship, and that this is the fallout of that. No. I do not agree with that. It is not so. The present BBJs also have got certain protection systems, and I will not speak about them. The VVIPs are secure even in the present aircraft that they fly. There was a need to get basically a long-range aircraft, and hence there is a change in the aircraft that has been required. There will be more protocol sharing because of the signing of the COMCASA. Yes, that is a fact. But I know, and we'll keep it at that the present BBJs are also safe.
Okay, definitely. But here the gist of this entire discussion and this entire project is to go ahead and enhance the safety and security of our VVIPs.
Can I say something, Vishal?
Cater to the technology. The developing technology here. I would come to you, General Sivach, but we are running short of time there. Just one quick comment you could make before I move on to Manu. Yes, please.
Yeah, my point is that, as far as this aircraft was concerned, it was already there. So therefore, saying that we have to go for an aircraft which has a range, automatically this was a part of Air India. So it was there. It is the safety and security angle which is important. And hence, the 2 issues which are there, SPS and this Liar CM, these are game changer. After all, we have got it. We have spent money. We have given to USA money, but the USA is kind enough to transfer this technology. So overall, it is a good thing. So my point of saying is that whatever we have got it for our VIP, it is state of art as on today. It is a requirement of the day because we are emerging a regional power. We must have it a safe and a secured aircraft for our VVIP when they are moving out.
Okay, definitely the relation between both the nations and the transfer of technology or equipment is intertwined to a great extent there. But Manu, before we bring this show to an end, a quick recap on the timeline, if you could do for us, where do we stand? When are we likely to have these aircrafts here and in service? Because I believe there would be some gap there in terms of training as well.
See, to start with, the Boeing business jets that we got in 2009, they had similar systems on board, in terms of missile avoidance. I think their delivery took much longer because they were fresh aircraft made especially for the VVIPs. These aircraft are now coming. I think we are expecting them to get into service within a few weeks. We don't have a set date yet, but the dates we've been hearing is end of August, early September. And I think once they come in, like AVM was saying, they might take a few weeks to settle in and get the protocols in place. But I don't think the PM is going anywhere soon because of COVID anyway. So I don't think the first time he's going to use it is going to be a few months away, because as far as we know, there are no scheduled visits abroad which are happening. In fact, a lot of the conferences are happening virtually. So I think by the end of the year, we'll see this aircraft take its first mission abroad, and it'll hopefully have a very nice, safe and comfortable journey for the Prime Minister.
Okay, definitely. And then that particular time which you're talking about between these aircrafts landing here in India and taking off on their first mission can be definitely productively used by all the personnel and the team required